Senior political correspondent Rachel Scott with more on what the White House has.
It's the WSJM Morning Show video live stream. Good morning and welcome to Tuesday. It's September 30th, and we're continuing our candidate interview series. We're talking with city commission candidates for the city of St. Joseph. Last week, we had three candidates on. We had Mike Cirola, Michael Fernandez, and then we had Tom Jennings. And this week, we start on the final three candidates, and Ryan Katowich is here today. So good morning, Ryan Katowich. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Ken. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for coming in. We appreciate it. Are you a morning person?
Not this early in the morning.
Okay. This is early? This is 7 o'clock. No. I often ask folks if they're a morning person or not, but we certainly appreciate you, morning or not, for coming in and sharing your views today.
Well, thank you.
How's the campaign been going? We'll get into it and we'll talk about your background, but let's do some chit chat here. How's the campaign going?
It's going well.
Yeah.
It's going well.
What have you been doing?
This is the first time I've ever run, so I
okay.
don't know what to expect exactly. But people have been very receptive, very kind. Done some door knocking, and I feel like my message is well received.
Yeah, that door knocking piece of it. So in the past I've volunteered for political campaigns, and when I was working on the other side of the industry, when I was a communications director for political people, but and door knocking was always intimidating to me. Because you don't know what you don't know is behind the door, or who you're going to talk to. How do you do this? How do you approach it?
Sure. Well, I was a little intimidated myself. I'm not going to lie. But surprisingly, when I find that somebody either disagrees with me or is a little belligerent when they first open the door, it's kind of fun to win them over, or to at least engage and get them talking. You know. Not confrontational, just, explaining that, I just feel like there's a little bit of a need for more common sense in St. Joe. And it's kind of fun. I enjoy it.
Yeah. So. Yeah. As long as they're willing to open the door, maybe it sounds like you view it as an opportunity to share some views.
Yeah, absolutely.
That you have. Okay. When did you make the decision to run?
Actually with the whole paid parking program.
Oh, when that started boiling over?
I had some issues with the city before that, but nothing that pushed me over the edge to want to join the race.
The fray. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And how has it been since then? What are you hearing about parking out there?
Most people do not like it.
Really? I'm so surprised. Yeah, it's been a thing. Do you think? So, I mean, I'll ask you more about this during the interview. But do you think it'll get unpaused? Would you vote? Would you support an unpausing of the paid parking situation?
I would not. I think that would be a big mistake.
Yeah. How come?
To be honest, I think that the business owners in the downtown area have their challenges, and parking shouldn't be one of them.
Yeah.
At the very least, it needed to be rolled out, in a lot different way. I don't think that any resident of the county should ever pay for parking anywhere. I mean, it's just my philosophy.
Yeah.
I think that vouchers could be issued, but truthfully, if I get a chance, I would never let it come back.
Okay. All right. We're talking with Ryan Katowich. He is a candidate for the St. Joseph City Commission. We'll talk to him about his candidacy, why he decided. We talked about it just a second ago, parking, but we'll talk more in depth about that issue and some of the other issues he's thinking about with regard to the city of St. Joseph. So that's coming up here on the WSJM Morning Show. There are 3 seats open for city of St. Joe, and 6 candidates who are running. That election is November 4th this year. So it's an off-year election, but important issues on the ballot. So we wanted to bring the candidates forward to you to let you ask questions as well. So if you do have a question on the video live stream, feel free to put it in, and we'll get to them as we can. Just put it in the chat, either on YouTube or on Facebook, and we'll post them. All right, we've got to get some local news here and sports and more. It's the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg. We'll be right back.
Works. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
7:05, it's the WSJM Morning Show for Tuesday, September 30th. I'm Ken Lundberg. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate you. 57 degrees in Benton Harbor under clear skies, 59 in St. Joseph, 56 in South Haven, and in New Buffalo right now, it's 57 degrees with clear skies. Again, as I mentioned, today, mostly sunny, tomorrow, partly cloudy, Thursday, partly cloudy, and then mostly sunny Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So if you have outdoor stuff that you need to get done, this is a great next 7 days to do it. The high today is probably going to be around 82 degrees. I see no rain in the forecast. That's all you need to know. Warm temperatures, no rain in the forecast. The only variation here I see is on Wednesday. So tomorrow we could have wind out of the east, 5 to 10 miles per hour, gusting up to 20. But otherwise, just beautiful. Again, as I mentioned, the Tigers, no scheduled game yesterday because they're in the postseason now. They begin the postseason, the AL Wild Card Series. That starts today, and we will hear the first pitch on WSJM this afternoon at 1:08 p.m. So if you want to hear the Tigers take on the Cleveland Guardians this afternoon, it begins 1:08. Let's go Tigers. All right, some of the news from the WSJM newsroom. Police say no additional bodies were found inside the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc after Sunday's attack that left 4 people dead. Investigators now believe everyone is accounted for. Authorities are looking into a motive still that drove the former Marine to drive into that building before shooting and setting it on fire. Governor Gretchen Whitmer said she spoke with President Donald Trump, who offered his condolences.
While we are working hard, while the good men and women who are working hard are doing so with due diligence, at this juncture, speculation is unhelpful and it can be downright dangerous. So just ask that people lower the temperature of rhetoric. Keep your loved ones close and keep this community close to your hearts.
The suspect was killed during an exchange with officers. 8 people in total were taken to the hospital, 5 with gunshot wounds. South Haven area emergency services will soon be equipped with new carbon monoxide detectors thanks to a grant from Michigan Gas Utilities. Shays Director Brandon Hinz said the detectors will clip onto the bags of paramedics.
We respond to quite a few carbon monoxide alarm activations on an annual basis. Some of them are legit activations. So we push pretty hard for folks to have carbon monoxide detectors in their homes.
He recalled an earlier incident when responders were overcome by carbon monoxide.
Our responders that did arrive on scene donned the self-contained breathing apparatuses, pulled our responders out, and attempted to resuscitate the victim that we were initially dispatched for. So it has happened in the past. Hopefully, knock on wood, it wouldn't happen again.
Hinz said the new devices will provide added protection. Shays will also help residents install detectors at home if requested. The Van Buren Conservation District has installed new interpretive signage along the 14-mile Van Buren State Trail. The 7 markers were funded through a grant and millage dollars. District official Jacob Diljak said the signs cover topics like local history and habitats.
We wanted to include information that reflected our culture, history, and interesting things about our area. Things like our farmland, our water, our forests and habitats and history.
He added that some signs highlight the region's fruit farming heritage.
We have a sign in a blueberry field, for instance, and it talks about how impactful blueberries are to our region, about a lot of the history of the farming of fruits.
The signs are in English, Spanish, and one in Potawatomi, and Diljak said they're already drawing positive feedback. And the Niles Scream Park has been ranked among the nation's top haunted attractions by America Haunts, coming in second on its list of bucket list destinations for 2025. Park manager Aaron Smith said the site is unique because it changes every year.
It's definitely a destination of fear, as we like to say. Most haunted houses, you're in and out in 15 to 30 minutes tops, but we are a place where you can spend a frightful night full. Hours of entertainment. It's not a one-stop shop. There's more than just a haunted house.
This year's features include Dust to Dust, The Field of Screams, and escape rooms.
We have the classic Niles haunted house. We have what we call the haunted duplex, which contains 2 smaller haunted houses inside of it, completely brand new attractions, 100% overhaul, known as the Lodge, and Dust to Dust.
The nonprofit park donates proceeds to charities and scholarships, and they've been scaring visitors for more than 50 years. That's a look at some of the local news that we have in the WSJM newsroom. We have more to talk about. We'll get to sports in just a moment. You ever been to the Scream Park, Ryan Katowich?
Yes.
With
my children.
Was it scary?
A little bit. Not bad.
I love this. Dust to Dust is one thing, but Field of Screams. You build it, we build it, and they will be terrified. I don't know what it is. Anyway, the Field of Screams. It sounds like a lot of fun. We're talking with Ryan Katowich. He is a candidate for the not scary St. Joseph City Commission, and he's one of 6 candidates who's running. There are 3 open seats. This is part of our candidate series. Let's say good morning and welcome to Ryan Katowich and learn a little bit more about him. Good morning, Ryan.
How you doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Doing well. And let's get your origin story. We love to know about people's backgrounds. Start at the beginning if you wish. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
The very beginning.
Yeah.
Well, I was born and raised in St. Joe.
Okay.
Went to St. Joe High School.
Go Bears.
Thank you.
There.
My teachers are probably terrified that I'm running for city commission.
Oh, no. How come?
A little bit of a hellion back then.
Oh, okay.
But I've been a business owner for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
I feel like I've got a lot of wisdom gained over those years from hard knocks.
Yeah. Some of your dealings with the city.
Sure. Just doing stupid and paying for it and learning my lesson and moving on. So,
Yeah.
but I'm, like I said, a business owner for the last 30 years. I was in construction. I had my builder's license, got into real estate in 2017. Now the broker and owner of Realty Executives. And, I'm a Christian. I'm a husband, a father. I've got 3 beautiful adult children. My son just started at Michigan State. My daughter just got married. So
Congratulations.
yeah, empty nesters.
That's great.
So, yeah.
That's great. What made you decide to get into the race?
The paid parking was what pushed me over the top, I think. I just feels like it's killing the soul of the city. I get the whole wanting to move traffic, but I think that the businesses should self-regulate. I think that as a business owner, I'm going to tell my employees and myself, I'm not going to park in front of my business. I'm going to tell them they need to move on.
Yeah.
The beach goers, that's a whole nother thing, but I think we could do things to push that traffic down to the beach.
Okay.
I've had other run-ins with the city, and I feel like the city of St. No is still alive and well, unfortunately. And so that was another issue that just, like I said, pushed me over the top.
Yeah. Well, we're talking with Ryan Katowich. He is a candidate for the St. Joseph City Commission. We'll talk about parking for sure, and then we'll talk about those other issues that you want to deal with if you are elected to the City Commission. That's coming up here in just a moment. It's part of our candidate series of interviews with those who are running for St. Joseph City Commission. They'll continue. That will continue here in just a moment on the video live stream. Right now, we're going to get sports on the radio from Dave Wolf. You want to continue listening to this conversation unedited and uninterrupted for sure. Just listen on the video live stream. It is WSJM.
The baseball play.
All right, here on the video live stream. So parking, that really got you. When did you first become aware of the parking situation, and what was your thought?
I had heard about it a couple times over the winter, and I was like, nah, that's not really happening. That's just chatter.
Yeah.
But yeah, around, I want to say spring break, we came back to town and it was alive and well.
Yeah.
And so my wife convinced me to run.
Yeah. What were some of the conversations about the parking? Because again, the city would say, well, we heard from certain groups that we needed to see the traffic move a bit more frequently, where you have no parking spaces in front of the businesses in downtown on Main Street. They wanted to move that traffic. This was their solution. So why is that not the solution to go with?
I feel like anytime the government gets involved, it's not usually a good thing. The people that are on the, in the situation typically can handle it better. I think that, before any of that actually moved forward, there should have been a lot more communication. Probably should have been a pilot program of some kind, generally a lot slower of a rollout, and, figure things out as you go rather than just, total lockdown of the entire downtown area, police, cruising. And it just felt very, very cumbersome.
Yeah. Hang on just one moment. We're going to get back on the radio. We're talking with Ryan Katowich. It's the WSJM Morning Show. Back in a sec.
I'm WSBT 22 Chief Meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
You've got a good radio voice. Ryan Katowich is here with us. He's a candidate for the St. Joseph City Commission. We're talking with him this morning about why he decided to get involved in the commission race. And we left it off on the video live stream a second ago with parking. And you thought the solution that St. Joseph City brought forward was too cumbersome. What? How? So if the problem is they want to see more traffic turnover, what solution do you think should have come forward, or what should be done about it?
Well, again, I think that if they would have rolled out more of a pilot program, more of a test to get the traffic moving, more of the 30-minute spots, just a general, variable amount of different parking times would be good. I have used those kiosks in the past, and I'm fairly young. I'm pretty good with technology, and I struggle sometimes. So I can't imagine, older folks that come to the downtown area. Yes, we like to embrace tourism, but we are a vibrant downtown area where many locals like to come and gather, and there's also the volunteers of the Whitcomb. They were coming down, and now they're volunteering their time, but they have to pay to do it. I mean, just things like that. I just feel like any of the locals should have gotten some sort of a pass, on that. And certainly, if you're not very mobile, there should be something that they could have, gone to the city and gotten, no questions asked.
Yeah. Would you support a hybrid solution? And again, we don't know what the city's going to come back with. I know that they've been in a lot of different talks. City manager Emily Hackworth and others talking with business owners, stakeholders about what it might look like going forward after the pause is taken off. If it is taken off, it'll be up to the city commission. But would you support a situation where it's a hybrid of some paid parking on the street, no paid parking for residents? Maybe there's a similar to our beach pass. We get something along those lines. Would you support any mix of where there's still paid parking to keep the traffic moving?
Well, my first choice would be for it to go away. I mean, honestly,
the whole paid parking situation.
Whole paid parking.
Okay.
Yeah. If I could wave a magic wand, I would have all those kiosks either donated or sold for gently used prices to Berrien County. Put them down at Silver Beach.
No.
And get rid of the booth there. I mean, that might solve the traffic problem there as well.
Yeah.
I like Mike Sorola's idea about 2 lanes westbound down there to help with the traffic flow. But anytime you start trying to control, where people are going, I think that there's pushback and all kinds of problems. I was just driving through Silver Beach the other day, and now that it's all open, there was some confusion. I had somebody pull over into my lane coming at me, and I'm like, "Oh, hey, we're not doing that anymore." Season's over. So,
yeah.
But yeah, obviously, the city spent a lot of money. They were trying to do good. I don't feel like there was any evil here. Objective. It was to try and move traffic and allow for more people to enjoy the downtown area. So I'm always up for a compromise, and I'm willing to listen. I mean, I think that's one of my greatest qualities as a realtor, to listen to my constituents, my clients, and negotiate, figure out what does work.
Yeah. So the parking issue likely to come back up in front of the city commission after the election. And so we'll try to understand what that policy looks like going forward. But other issues that are on your mind when you talk about the city, you said you've had some run-ins with the city before. Let's talk about what other areas that you see could be improved with the city of St. Joe.
Sure. I think the whole culture of city of St. No is unfortunately still present.
Yeah, and largely about development, right?
Correct. Yep. I actually had to go in front of the planning commission last summer to get an awning canvas replaced on the building that we inhabited at the time. And I thought it was a very simple process. It should have been a very simple process. We have an awning in place. It's been there for 15 years, and the canvas was torn. It looked terrible. It was, these waving fabric blowing in the wind, and it was just awful. And so, but when I went in front of the planning commission, it was like felt like a Spanish Inquisition. I was all of a sudden thrown into a lot of questions that I didn't think had anything to do with the ordinance.
What kind of questions?
Well, like they had issue with the color. They had issue with the amount of information that was on the awning, not the actual square footage. That wasn't really a question. We had determined the square footage of the sign. We were allowed to do it. It turned out that it didn't have a permit originally, which was surprising, but that's why I was there.
Yeah.
And it actually got denied. So for another month, I had to watch the awning blowing in the wind and wait for my shot to come back and change it a little bit, and so it was a little frustrating.
Yeah. What was just out of curiosity? What was the issue? What did they want to see differently?
So the logo has 3 colors: red, white, and blue, and it was different from the original awning. The original awning's kind of a royal blue, and this one was white. It had a couple different things listed on it that we do as a company, and it had our phone number. They said it was too busy, but yet I see all these digital signs everywhere that are screaming, distracting drivers. So I didn't quite understand it. But
yeah. Okay. But you eventually got it through.
Eventually got it through, but I just, like I said, it should have been a lot simpler, I think.
Yeah. And what else? What else with the city would you like to see improved?
Communication. I feel like, I think that, the city did a fairly okay job trying to reach out to business owners with the whole paid parking thing. And a lot of business owners I heard, kind of buried their heads in the sand and didn't want to address it. But, but at the same time, I think that, there was a social media person appointed by the city, and there were some issues where she went on leave or something like that. I didn't get the full story, but I think that we need to get our message out there. I love that people are more engaged. That's the one beautiful thing that came from the paid parking was that that city hall is filled on a Monday night, and good or bad, people are talking. And that's really what we need, so.
Yeah. We're talking with Ryan Katowich. He is a candidate for the St. Joseph City Commission. There are 3 openings on the commission and 6 candidates who are running. Ryan is among them, and it's part of our candidate interview series. So we'll continue this conversation right now here on the video live stream and on the radio. Talking a little bit about your business experience. You were in construction. You're now in real estate. And we talked about, you mentioned St. No as far as development goes. How do you view some of the development potentials, opportunities that are developing right now in St. Joseph, thinking about the Marquette, thinking about Harbor Shores and what they're planning? Good with the development? How do you see those going forward in the future?
I am good with the development. It fits the city's master plan. We're short on housing, 900 units or so. And the Marquette will help to accommodate some of that, and the Harbor Shores development will help with that as well. There's some apartments, Corwell's working on finishing up another building right now, and Clark Logic applied for a rezoning to put in, I want to say, 50 or 60 apartments there. So I love it. It's an exciting time for the city. I think we do need to grow. I think we need to grow the tax base so that we can afford some of these projects that are coming up that are unfunded. So
yeah. You bring up the tax base issue. Are we taxed too much or too little in St. Joseph?
Really?
I thought I'd throw it out there. I give everyone a softball.
Right?
Yeah.
So anecdotally, I sold my neighbor's house. It was a small 700 square foot home. The taxes uncapped to, I want to say, $4,200. That's a lot for a 1-bedroom, 1-bath home in the city of St. Joe. I mean, that's a lot of taxes.
Yeah.
And I, we have the third highest millage rate in the county, but those two other townships have a lot lower median house value. So, it's it's a lot of money we're spending, and I kind of question where it's going a lot of times. So yes, I think we pay too much in taxes, and my whole goal in common sense leadership would be to scrutinize every one of those dollars. I think that there's millages that force us to spend money, like if it's a band shell millage, we can't take those dollars anywhere else. But the general fund, we do have some discretion, and it needs to be spent very thoughtfully. So.
Yeah, I mean, and as you think about, one of the questions we had in on the video live stream last week was, as you think about some of these new developments, the Marquette, for instance, you bring a lot of residents into a concentrated area. How is that going to affect the infrastructure, roads, the traffic situation? Do you think we're set up in a situation where our current infrastructure is adequate to support those kinds of developments, and the money there to keep them in good shape?
Yeah, I do actually. The parking that is going to be created by the Marquette will actually be neutral, but it'll add in another 100 parking spots. Those individuals that are living down there are not going to be they're going to be shopping local. They're going to be on foot a lot of that time. So, there'll be some birth pains, if you will, for when the building goes in. That's not going to happen overnight. And the city hasn't seen, construction on this scale in, 40 so years, since the boulevard. So, it'll be a challenge, but I think that between the Main Street project and once the construction's done there, I think it'll be just fine.
Yeah, it's it'll be interesting to see what happens, because you're going to have the construction of the Marquette happening at the same time, if the plan goes forward, that the construction on Main Street, the reconstruction of MDOT goes forward. Have you had any thoughts about the impact of that MDOT construction as they redo all of Main Street there? Any thoughts on how that's going to affect the economy in St. Joseph and what we might do for local business?
I think as long as we stay ahead of it and have thoughtful processes in place, I think we should just be fine. Like I said, people just have to deal with the fact that it's an improvement. It's a long needed improvement. It's been put off for 7 years, now.
Long time.
So, so I'm excited. I'm excited to see what it'll do for the city.
I'm excited, but I'm a little nervous.
Sure.
I think about what's happening in Buchanan with all the infrastructure projects down there.
If you're 75% excited and 25% terrified, that's a good mix.
That's a good mix.
Keeps you on your toes, right?
All right, we're talking with Ryan Katowich. He's a candidate for St. Joseph City Commission. We're going to continue this conversation in just a moment. We have a few messages to get to on the radio, and also our Bloomberg Market Minute. That's coming up here in just a moment on the radio, but we'll continue the interview with Ryan Katowich on the video live stream. So tune in for that on YouTube, on Facebook, and on our WSJM Smart app. This is the WSJM Morning Show.
United Way of...
Okay, continuing on the video live stream. Would you characterize yourself as a fiscal conservative?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. I took the Dave Ramsey financial piece back in 2008. Changed my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How would you apply that to the city of St. Joe? You mentioned you wanted to look at every dollar and how things are going. Where would you start looking with St. Joseph?
So I think we have approximately 40,000 in debt, or 40 million in debt right now. Servicing debt is a huge issue for me. I think that people say there's good debt, and I begrudgingly give that to them. Sometimes you need a lot of money up front, but I think building reserves makes a lot more sense. The city actually did not have much of an asset management plan up until fairly recently, as I understand it, talking to Mike Sorolla. and it really drew a spotlight to some failing infrastructure that the city has and the need for that. So so I think that by being wise stewards of the dollars that we are given and really focusing on sinking funds for those assets, we can accomplish those goals without going into debt.
Yeah. So fewer bonds, fewer millages, that sort of thing. Lower the tax. That's what you're talking about.
Exactly, like the sewage waste treatment plant.
Yeah.
They've got some issues. I mean, there's raw sewage dripping on those employees' heads.
Mm.
Okay, that I'm not going to sit here and say that we don't have some problems, but they just recently passed a vote to allow the sewage treatment plant to explore a bond. And in the entire history of that sewage treatment plant, they've been actually able to cash flow every project. If they're critical path where they have to do certain things to get done, great. But I don't think it makes any sense to go out and do a bond for 20 million if they can cash flow it. So.
Yeah. Okay. Talking with Ryan Katowich here. He's a candidate for St. Joseph City Commission. As you think about other issues that you've run into with the city, we've talked about parking. We've talked a little bit about the development questions. What about short-term rentals?
As a realtor, I was waiting for that one.
Yeah. How do you feel about that issue?
I think the city's actually done a pretty good job in limiting it to the central business district. A lot of communities are going that route, calling it more of a commercial endeavor and keeping it out of R1 residential. I'm in agreement with that. I think that you see communities like New Buffalo that maybe had let it go a little too far, and it can hurt a community, So I'm 100% in favor of property rights, but there has to be a balance. So I think the city's done a fairly good job on that.
Yeah. Question from our very own Mike Weibel. He says, as a realtor, do you see issues with the upkeep and appearance of some local businesses? I'm not sure if that's a loaded question or not, but I thought I'd pose it. What do you think about that?
I like the downtown development pushing for their TIF. I think that
tax incremental financing. Yeah.
I think that they can offer a grant to the business owners to matching grant that they could fix up their facades with. I love that they'll keep those dollars in the downtown area. So I'm in favor of that.
Yeah. So I mean, is that fair to those who are keeping it up on their own? Do we need a TIF for this?
Any little bit helps if you can get it. I don't want to say handout, but if you can put in your application and show that you're going to improve your property, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I would say yes, if you can do it on your own, then bootstrap it.
Yeah.
But
and the reason I asked about that is the tax incremental financing. The TIF is 2023 is when they redefine the brownfield. What you're able to use brownfield language for, and so this tax increment financing has, at least it appears, led to a lot of residential development, especially here in our area, and so. What that means is it's taking a property, you're taking some of the monies that would normally go to property taxes for those infrastructure projects and repaying the developers for their investment in that property. So is it good to redevelop a community? Is it good to do that at the cost of property taxes? So I don't know. Any thoughts, any views on that?
Anything you can do to draw developers in and improve properties is, in my opinion, a good thing. If a community stagnates, it's kind of a vicious circle.
Yeah.
So I think that reinvesting in the community is always going to be a good thing. It's going to, again, increase, tax base if they're building bigger and better things, as long as it makes sense and it fits the community, then I'm all for it.
Okay, we're talking with Ryan Katowich. We're listening to the Bloomberg Market Minute here on the radio. We're going to come back and continue with Ryan in just a moment. It's the WSJM Morning Show. If you have any questions, just like Mike Weibel did, you can put it in on the video live stream, and we'll get to them as we can. All right, we've got a couple of news items to get to. It's WSJM's Morning Show.
Smaller offices into regional hubs. CEO Darren Woods told employees in a memo that the job cuts represent 3 to 4% of Exxon's global workforce. When it comes to his overall industry this year, Delta Airlines CEO Ed Bastian does not sound optimistic. Bastian said expensive premium seats and resurging business travel will allow Delta and United to make the majority of the industry's profits. But beyond that, the Delta CEO expects most U.S. airlines to lose money this year. Futures are lower after stocks edged higher yesterday. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
It is the WSJM Morning Show. 7:36 is the time. It's Tuesday, September 30th. I'm Ken Lundberg. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. We're having a good conversation with Ryan Katowich. He is a St. Joseph City Commission candidate, and that election is coming up in November of this year, November 4th. And so we thought we'd bring in all the different candidates. There are 6 candidates for 3 seats for the St. Joseph City Commission. So we're visiting with Ryan Katowich this morning. We'll continue the interviews tomorrow. Kimberly Jorgensen-Gain is coming in, and then on Thursday we'll be hearing from Lisa Vetney. So a lot of candidates. If you miss any of these interviews, or if you want to go back and watch them all, if you want to share them with friends, feel free. We've got them all archived once they happen on our video library. You can check that out on YouTube, on Facebook, and at WSJM.com. 56 degrees in Benton Harbor right now, clear skies. 59 in St. Joseph, and in South Haven, it is 55 degrees. The forecast for today, it's going to be mostly sunny again. The sun already starting to peek out. High today around 82 degrees. Northeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight's forecast, mostly clear, a low of 56. Clouds, partly cloudy days expected for Wednesday and Thursday, with highs around 77 degrees on Wednesday and around 80 degrees on Thursday. And then once again, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, mostly sunny all of those days, and highs expected in the 80s. Tigers baseball is coming up this afternoon, 1:08 p.m. first pitch. It's the postseason. It's game 1 in the AL Wild Card Series. The Detroit Tigers taking on the Cleveland Guardians, and you can hear it right here on WSJM. We'll be back in a moment. We've got news now from ABC. Our local news preview is next.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. U.S. military generals and admirals from around the world gathering in Virginia. They were summoned there by Defense Secretary Hegseth and President Trump. ABC Chief White House Correspondent Mary Bruce says many are still in the dark about what it's all about.
This really is an unprecedented meeting that senior officers know very little about. President Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth will be addressing several hundred top commanders who have been told to convene in person this morning at Quantico in Virginia without knowing the reason. Secretary Hegseth, we know, is expected to discuss what he's coined the warrior ethos, but beyond that, very little is known.
The federal government appears on the road to a shutdown. Talks between Republicans and Democrats in Congress have broken down. Midnight tonight is the deadline. Tropical storm Imelda expected to create wet, windy conditions on the East Coast this week. And Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill likely out for the rest of the year after suffering a dislocated left knee. This is ABC News.
WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
7:39 WSJM Morning Show continues. I'm Ken Lundberg. Some of the news that we'll have just after 8 o'clock this morning. Michigan lawmakers could vote today on a new state budget to prevent a government shutdown. We caught up with Area State Representative Joey Andrews. He spoke at a budget meeting last night in Benton Harbor. He says he hasn't seen the full plan, but for the most part, he says it does avoid major cuts in the original that were originally in the House version of that plan. So we'll talk a little bit more about what that means for Southwest Michigan. That's coming up just after 8 o'clock this morning. Also, a developer has announced plans for 120 new homes in Royalton Township. We'll give you an update there. And next week is Fire Prevention Week. Don't play with matches, obviously, but also you might think about your lithium-ion batteries. they have the possibility of overheating if they're left charging too long. And public safety folks want you to be careful on how you charge them and how you monitor those when they're on the charger. All right, 7:40. Those news items and more coming up just after 8 o'clock. We're going to continue our interview with Ryan Katowich here in just a moment on the video live stream. Sports is coming up next with Dave Wolf on the radio right after a look at state news.
The Michigan.
We were talking back on the video live stream here, Ryan. We were talking during the news. You mentioned that you have a boat issue. You had a boat issue. Earlier, like last week, we were talking with sitting city commissioner Michael Fernandez, and he really, the thing that got him going into the direction of running for city commission was he had an RV, he wanted to park it in his driveway, and the city said no. You have a similar issue?
I did, actually.
What happened?
I had a pretty good sized boat that my driveway, although it's a good sized driveway, there's not much to the back of the driveway, and the ordinance says it has to basically be behind your house if it's going to be parked in the driveway, if at all. And of course, when you get it out of the storage at the fairground, they dump it. You have to dump it in your yard for a couple months before it goes into the marina. And a couple years in a row, I got some love letters from the city, the city of St. Joe. So.
Yeah. What do you think those were appropriate?
We're a boating community.
Yeah.
And if I've got a vehicle or a RV or anything else and it's parked on concrete and it's not a nuisance and it's tucked back as far as it'll go and it's not blocking anything, I really don't see the harm in it. I mean, there's two sides to every coin, and the ordinance is written for eyesores, right? Probably, but I thought it was a little bit aggressive.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, taken to the extreme, the other side of the coin, if people have their boats, no matter in what state, parked in, or RVs for that matter, parked in their driveways, do we become? Does it counter some of what the city tries to do with their house maintenance ordinances?
Sure,
I live on South State Street, and we got told this year we had to put a handrail in and touch up some of the trim, which we did. I still wonder about the orbit of the Earth and how fast people are going that you need to hang onto the rails. No, I'm just kidding. but it's like, okay, well, I get the underlying awareness here for a need to keep the city, keep your property values up. Your boat may be very nice. Your neighbors might be, I don't know, a hole in the water that you pour money into. What do you? How do you strike that balance if you don't have a strong ordinance?
Right. So the ordinance is in black and white. The world is gray, shades of gray.
Right.
So I think it's up to our city employees to use a little bit of common sense. And if you get complaints, then you have to deal with those. But I think for the most part, if in the springtime, if it's a boat and you for a fact that boat's going to go away, give a little grace.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Common sense and a little bit of grace.
Yep.
Okay.
Amen.
Good enough. Some of the other issues, we've talked a lot about your desire to review the money that the city of St. Joe is spending. Some of your the other candidates who are running for office have talked about, I think it was Michael Sorolla who talked about the use of consultants at the city. We've talked a little bit about property taxes and millages. How do you feel about the Axe My Tax initiative that is currently in its signature gathering stage to get a place? They're hoping to get a place on the 2026 ballot.
I love it. I think it's a great idea. I do think that, when Mike Sorolla said that they'll put some other taxes, in its place, I think that's true. There's no way we can't, we have to support these, the infrastructure of our cities, pay for police and fire and everything else. But it'll be more of a consumption tax, sin taxes, things like that. I feel like there's a lot of waste in government, and we have to tighten our belts. There's we don't get to print money like the federal government. The states and municipalities have to live within their means, and frankly, they have been very wasteful.
Yeah, a lot to unpack there. On the part about funding infrastructure or funding government, it strikes me that property taxes were put in place. I mean, we may not like it, but it's what we have. And so the initiative, as I read it, seeks to throw that out within 60 days and basically tells municipalities to find a different way to fund. And leaves it up to the folks in Lansing who still haven't got a budget done, even though they were supposed to by July 1 of this year. What say you on that?
I mean, it's certainly a lot, I think the Axe My Tax initiative comes from a lot of frustration. People are just fed up. They're tired of seeing a governor go overseas on trips. They don't understand that, why we're spending dollars on that. And it just seems like there's a lot of frivolity at the state level that people are just saying they want to cut it off and force Lansing to figure it out.
Yeah. So on the local level, the property taxes fund our local government and infrastructure, et cetera. How would you then fund those projects, those obligations, including existing bond obligations, if the Axe My Tax were to go forward?
Sure. Really great question.
Yeah.
I didn't say I was 100% in favor. I said it was an attractive idea. There would be a lot to figure out, certainly, and not a whole lot of time to do it. So they're great questions. It's an exciting time to live, and that's why we want to get involved and try to figure that out.
Yeah. One of the just one more question on this. One of the I wouldn't say companion, but one of the other arguments is that bonds and millages are making the property taxes too much, and that's what's causing the frustration that you mentioned about the property taxes, including school bonds. St. Joseph's School has a bond coming up in favor of that.
I'm not exactly sure how I feel about that. I would like to see it. Just cash flowed. Again, I'm a Dave Ramsey guy. I don't feel like borrowing money is ever a blessing. So, but I understand the need for large amounts of capital right away. So, I think I would vote for the bond.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Dave Ramsey. You mentioned Dave Ramsey a couple of times. You ever listen to Bruce Williams? Remember him? Yeah, he might have been before your time.
Okay.
I would argue that he was probably Dave Ramsey's role model.
Okay.
Bruce Williams. We'll talk about that in a second. It's a WSJM morning show, 748.
And that means sunshine, sunny skies, high temperatures getting up right around 80 degrees this afternoon. Clear tonight and comfortable still. Overnight lows drop down to 56. And then for Wednesday, we do get more clouds, partly cloudy skies, high temperatures at 75. I'm WSBT 22 Chief Meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken Lundberg on WSJM.
WSJM morning show, 748. I'm showing my age. Sorry about that, Ryan. No, we were talking on the video live stream. By the way, if you're missing the video live stream, you're missing a lot. If you want to catch the full interview, go back and listen or watch on YouTube, on Facebook. We've got the video live stream there. It's also easily linked to through our WSJM Smart app. But you're a fan of Dave Ramsey and his financial guidance, and I suggested, and I'll probably get some blowback on this, that Bruce Williams was probably Dave Ramsey's role model. He was a financial guy who talked on late night talk radio, and in my early days of my career, I had the pleasure of board operating, basically potting up, turning up Bruce Williams and playing commercials in between his segments, and for me, it was forced listening to financial advice for I don't know how many years.
Beautiful.
It was really fun. It was a lot of fun. So I appreciate what you do there. 749. It's the WSJM morning show. We're talking with Ryan Katowich. He is a candidate for St. Joseph City Commissioner. We've been talking about a lot of his positions on different issues, but you brought a flyer in. Tell us what's on your flyer. So if you see this blue and yellow flyer show up, this is what's on it from Ryan Katowich.
Just as at the top, common sense leadership. As a business owner, I kind of live my life that way, and Dave Ramsey's helped a lot in that respect. It says that I'm a Christian, a husband, a father, a broker, a builder, and a firefighter. So my promises are to end the paid parking. Plan for the future is to have responsible leadership, solve problems that arise, and City of St. Joe residents are my my number one priority.
Yeah. So firefighter, tell us a little bit more about that.
I joined Royalton Township Fire Department in 2012. Actually turned in my application on a Friday, and it was Monday night, and we had there's a Monday night service for our church, but our son was feeling a little puny, so we just decided we'd skip the church service.
Yeah.
And we're outside. My son was down in the basement watching cartoons, and all of a sudden fire alarms went off in the house.
Oh no.
And, so I was kind of walking around. I thought maybe my wife left the oven on, no big deal. We had heard the smoke detectors go off a few times earlier in the year, and it was nothing. So,
yeah, just means dinner time.
Yeah. So, but I'm walking around. I go upstairs, and started to smell a little smoke, and walked into my one daughter's bedroom, and there's flames on the bed, and it's starting to lick the ceiling.
Oh no!
Now this is 2 days after I turned in my application for the fire department.
Wow.
So I, hollered down to Lisa to grab me a fire extinguisher, and she brought this little tiny kitchen hot dog, extinguisher. I said, that's not going to be enough. And she ran to the garage to get one off of her Jeep, and I ran into my daughter's room. I had left the door open, rookie mistake, and pulled the pin, pointed at the bed, and heard my own voice talking to my kids how to put out a fire, pointed at the base of the fire, sweep back and forth. And I'll be darned, it went out.
Nice.
So
you got it.
Yeah, we got it. But because it was, Monday night, 6:00, the entire fire department showed up at my door.
Man.
I mean, all 5 trucks, 20 some guys. Chief walked up to me, goes, "Ryan, I'd let you on the fire department. You didn't have to start a fire in your house to prove you could put it out."
That's really funny. And I'm glad nobody was hurt. Correct.
Nobody was hurt.
Okay. What started the fire?
Justin Bieber.
How?
So my daughter.
Darn that kid.
So my daughters were at my mom's house for the weekend, and my wife decided she was going to freshen up the kids' bedrooms. New linens, things like that, and move the furniture around. And there was a Justin Bieber poster on the wall that my wife moved, and she had a candle in a glass jar lit on the nightstand.
Yeah.
And that poster fell off the wall, fell across the candle and the bed, and it just walked right across to the bed. So,
wow.
Yeah. So I always joke that Justin Bieber tried to burn my house down.
Justin Bieber tried to burn you. I believe that. That's unfortunate, but I'm glad nobody was hurt, and so that probably pushed your resume, your application to become a Royalton Township firefighter up a little bit.
I don't know about that.
Probably still get kidded at it. Do you have a Justin Bieber T-shirt? You probably,
no, I do not.
You probably should if you don't. This is part of our Moody on the Market update this hour. It's brought to you by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today. They are your local auto owners insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. We're talking with Ryan Katowich. He's a candidate for his St. Joseph City Commission. He's one of 6 candidates, 3 open spots. The election is this November. We'll be back in just a moment with more of this interview here on the radio. It's WSJM.
Rich Brandon, Cherokee Halsey.
Okay, we're still on the video live stream. Let me move around a couple of commercials here. Make sure we get everybody in. And how are we doing so far? Is this good? What do you do in your spare time when you're not firefighting or real estating or listening to Justin Bieber? Yeah, right.
What spare time? Yeah, no. Between running the brokerage and trying to sell my personal book of business, there's not a lot of time. But my wife and I like to bike ride. Like to take walks. We've got 2 little puppies now.
Oh, what kind of dogs?
They're Morkies.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what a Morkie is.
Maltese and a Yorkie mix.
Oh, okay.
They little barky
cute
dogs.
Little guys.
Yeah,
cute little barky dogs. Okay.
My wife has a basket. She puts them in the basket, and we go for bike rides, and
very cute.
People point and laugh and say, "Oh, how cute!" And whatever.
That's great. That's great. What are their names?
Josie and Teddy.
Josie and Teddy.
Yeah,
Very nice.
They're her little fur babies.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun. So you get out, you enjoy some of that. You don't boat anymore. Do you boat?
We probably will get another boat. Seems like
now that you're an empty nester,
every couple of years we get the Jones for it. And yeah. So
what kind of boating do you do?
It was an open bow speedboat.
Okay.
Cobalt.
Take it out on the lake?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. All right. It's not that big loud one that goes by, is it?
No,
the big
cigarette boat. No.
Talking about, because of your real estate background, how do you view the housing market in St. Joe? Is it healthy?
It is. Yep. It's not enough supply.
Yeah. Is that because people from out of town are buying up second residences?
I think most people are sitting on a beautiful interest rate and they don't want to give it up.
Yeah.
Boy,
this interest rate market is tough.
Yes. And so, if the rates do drop, you may see an avalanche of, people putting their homes on the market, but you're going to see twice as many buyers jumping back in. So it's I've been in a seller's market for probably the last 7 years, I would say, where it's started to balance out a little bit, but I would still say it's a seller's market.
You think with the additional developments that are planned and moving forward, Marquette, for instance, the Harbor Shores, that there will be some ease in the market?
I think there'll be some relief in rents, because we're talking about a lot of apartments, coming into the area.
Yeah.
So I think there'll be some pressure off of rents. But as far as homes, I don't foresee those, ever flattening out or going down in values, certainly.
Yeah, there's been some talk recently, and we'll get back on the air here. There's been some talk recently about the state. They sent a letter to Dial-A-Ride in Takata, the transit authority here, and said no more state money is coming to Dial-A-Ride by October of next year, 2026. And they're pressuring the county, or they're at least asking the county, hey, if you want to continue to see this money, you're going to have to form something that sounds like a regional transit authority. How do you feel about that?
I think that's a great idea. I think that anytime we can get people from A to B and not congest the streets, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, yeah. It would be interesting to see it come off the ground again. I mean, I know they've been talking about it for years, but for whatever reason, it seems like Benton Harbor and the rest of the municipalities can't come to an agreement on how that would work.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll look forward to that. All right, we're going to get closing comments from Ryan Katowich. That's coming up in just a moment, right here on the WSJM Morning Show.
At Moody Studios, this is WSJM FM Benton Harbor, St. Joseph, a product of Midwest Family Marketing and Media. Proudly serving our community. The Morning Show with Ken Lundberg on WSJM.
And that about does it for our interview with Ryan Katowich. He's a candidate for St. Joseph City Commissioner. We've got about a couple of minutes here. Give us your closing comments on why you think people should vote for you for City Commission.
Well, I think it's all about common sense. I think that I admittedly don't know a lot about local government. I feel like I'm going to have a rude awakening if I do get the job. But I'm going to work very hard to make sure that every dollar spent is spent wisely, scrutinized, and squeezed the life out of it to get as much for the city residents as I possibly can. I don't, it seems like a fairly thankless job. Those guys are having a lot of fun this summer.
Boy, I tell you, yeah.
Getting raked over the coals, but I think I'm up for it. And I think, between my listening skills and negotiation and, daily problem solving for my clients, I think that I could do some good for the city. So,
okay. All right. Where can people go for more information on your campaign?
We have a website, and I have this flyer that they can scan.
Got a QR code on there, and you've got your social media as well. Facebook,
yes.
Best place?
Yep, I would say. Yeah.
Just look for Ryan Katowich. Okay. Ryan Katowich, candidate for St. Joseph City Commission. Thanks for coming in. How was the hour? Did we do okay?
Yeah, I think we did pretty good.
All right. Yeah, I think it went by rather quickly. It was good, interesting conversation.
Not too painful.
All right. 7:59. We've got world and national news coming up next from ABC. If you want to go back and watch this interview, you can feel free. We've got it on YouTube. We have it on Facebook. We have it on our WSJM Smart app. Just tune in to that right now. Okay, we have news now from ABC. Our local news is coming up next. It's 8 o'clock.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Hundreds